Just 3 months ago, this harbor was bustling with fishermen and women setting out at 5 a.m. and returning to unload and prepare their boats for the next day. The contrast between then and now is striking. The boats are now winter ready, and the lake ice is beginning to secure them in for the season. The silence is deafening. No birds, no engines. As the boats and fishermen take a breather after a busy year, perhaps less than 3 months from now, this sleepy harbor will once again come to life. But until then, I wanted to give you a behind-the-scenes look and share a few stories about how the shots came together without giving away too much of the documentary. From capturing breathtaking drone footage like this incredible tracking shot of the old Clipper, to mounting cameras on the boats at 3 a.m., trying to film fish and getting those action shots. It was quite the amazing journey. While it may have appeared that a large film crew was on board with all those angles, it was actually just me, a one-man crew over the span of 5 months. My God, it's early. I usually get to the docks around 3:15 to set up the boats with cameras. The first thing I'm going to have to mention is that I use my tongue a lot for balance. It's funny, I didn't realize how often I stick it out until I seen this footage. It's pitch black out here. Since the boat engines are off, there's no light. That's why I always bring flashlights. It helps me navigate and illuminate the shot so I can frame it just how I want it. I haul 2 cases of camera gear, including cameras, long-lasting batteries, cooling packs, all kinds of mounts. You name it, I have it, and probably multiples of it. When I set up the boats, I typically use about 10 cameras. They need to run for the duration of the trip, so I had to bring hefty-duty batteries and 512 gigabyte memory cards. The downside of working in the dark is that the boats are full of spiders and their webs, so let's just say I've had my share of morning protein. The reason I start rigging up that early is the captain and the crew leave at 5 a.m. sharp, and I don't want to be the one who holds them up. Once everybody is on board, I make sure to inform the crew where the cameras are positioned and what they'll be recording. This is important since they have to have areas where they can expect some privacy. During the mornings when I rig up the boats, I stay in touch with the captains, and they tell me when they're heading back to port so I can meet them and take everything down. So, to get a puller shot, when we mount the cameras there in the middle of the night, we get a U-flange, a all metal end, and the puller is right there. So we mount that, I strap that down, I use high power magnets, and we also zip tie it. Then we take magnets again, put it here, we mount the cameras, and then we add security line as well, just so it doesn't drop. And we didn't lose any cameras at that point, but it was far enough that it was out of range for any nets being caught in it. And it caught great shots like George opening up the doors in the morning and just seeing all the fish come in, or seeing lack of fish. But it was a great asset to have for the film. Here it is. This is my my ring camera mount. So it's the old clippers. I use the old life ring, and we attached cameras to it. I used some black rope, so when it was in the water, the black rope would disappear and also would sink a little bit, so you wouldn't see how it was done. But it gives that scuba diver look when they pop up and, oh, there's a boat there. Love that shot. It was one of my favorite shots. I have a lot of favorite shots in there, but we simply just put it out there and seen what happened. And it was, it's only 4 inches above the water, but the shots are like fabulous. Love these shots. So the other tool I used was a telescopic pole. It's had action cameras on it. And then I used my phone to take a look at what's on the monitor or what's being recorded. But this was helpful when they were pulling in the fish with the puller, which is the first window. So I would extend this out, and then I would go right into the water, right about 6 feet below the water. The yellow ball on here tells me which end is up. So it's not a crooked shot or anything like that, but that allowed me to get that amazing shot of the fish coming up. And it was really a great tool to use. So for the name of the boat on the bow, I also used the pole, and I extended it out and I braced it against the side here, and I put it out as far as I could, and then I got the name of the boat with the water and the foreground. Again, really cool shot. And yeah, it's actually my pool telescope pole. I guess never really used it this summer except on the boats.
We also had to get some live fish for him so that he could take a picture of them in his closed environment, which initially he tried to do it on a beach on the lake, and the fish promptly escaped immediately. And so we were out of fish and we didn't get a good shot. So he learned the lesson of pickerel. When they want to go somewhere, especially during spawning season, they're going to go and they're going to do whatever it takes to get back out into the lake. So that's really all I got to say about the live shots that he had. It was a really interesting. For one thing, we've never brought in live fish before, so that was kind of an interesting thing. Trying to keep the darn things alive in using pails that didn't work, and because it wasn't big enough, and all the other stuff. So it certainly has been an experience, and I hope we don't have to do it again.
Wow, that was a day. Those folks you see out there are actually fishing. My son Landon and I like to call our incident reverse fishing. I can't get over the look of astonishment on their faces. I bet you they still talk about it to this day. So here's the deal. It was tough to show perch caught by the net in the bottom of the lake, so I had to come up with a different solution. First, I should mention that my neighbors have seen a lot of interesting projects at my place, but never a temporary lake bottom. I built it in just a few hours, filled the tank with about 2.5 feet deep. Then I added sand and some zebra mussels from the captain. I set a net in the tank and placed whole fish in the net. After that, I grabbed my camera and filmed it. Then I tinted it in post-production to match the watercolor. All of this for a 7-second clip, but it was totally worth it. Oh, by the way, I seem to have accumulated a lot of cats hanging around my house now.
So when Daryl wanted to put the cameras in the nets, tried to figure out where the best spot would be, and it just took the spot way before it the tunnel gets a little bit smaller in the net. So figured you get the fish schooling up in there. So we just cut some holes in the net and just randomly placed the cameras where I thought would be, a good spot to see the fish coming in. But then again, you don't know which way the cameras are going to be when you get in the water because you got no control over that. So the first time was kind of a crapshoot. So we got in there and we did see some stuff, which kind of got us excited. So then the next time we tried, I had different ideas and Daryl had some different ideas. So we just figured, well, if we can, I know the way the net pulls in the water, so I figured if I can just tie the cameras in on a different angle and kind of put more tie wraps on them to keep them fairly straight, and try some different spots in the net, like dug down in a little bit deeper, and then we went with that. So then we started getting some better pictures. So then we tried to better ourselves again, and Daryl got some lights, which helped a lot, I think. So we placed the lights and the cameras in a few different spots again where we thought they'd be the best, and just did that, and we got some really good shots then. So then we kind of knew where we wanted to put the cameras and where not to put the cameras. So we tried again with some more lights and stuff, and pretty much got the best shots we could have. Did a good job.
I think we lost four cameras.
4 cameras? Yeah.
Some to compression, some just...
Some we forgot.
Oh.
Yeah. Then we put then when we wanted to see how the trawl door worked, like Daryl was interested in that, so he had his fabricators make a magnetic thing to hold the cameras on the doors. So that's how he got those good shots of the trawl doors on the bottom of the lake there. That was pretty cool too, just to see that. Like, I've seen it before, like from other things just online, but to see it on your own net was a little bit better.
I had an incredible summer on the water, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. While fishermen were trying to catch their fish, I was focused on capturing great footage. Working with these men and women has been a true pleasure. I'm sure it's been entertaining for them as well to watch me do crazy things to get those perfect shots. The fishermen have shared, thanks to this documentary, they received numerous thank yous and comments of appreciation, how challenging it can be to work on the water for a living. If that's all this film accomplishes, then it's truly done its job.
For years and years and years, we always watch the birds. We can see the birds, we see them flying and flying and flying. We know that something's coming up. And then all of a sudden the bag pops up and the birds are down. But just what they were actually seeing, I didn't think you could see it that good, because when the drone was up there and you see the water more or less bubbling and boiling, you know it's coming up. And then you see the bag pop up and the birds go down. It's like, it has a whole better idea thing. So now you really, and then too, yeah, another thing was when you set in the net and you see the whole thing, the doors and the net and everything spreading out and going back. That looked really impressive too. I know what it's supposed to look like, but to actually see it is like, yeah, that's pretty good. Everything looks good.
When it comes to flying drones, I'm an advanced pilot with thousands of flight hours. However, this project required a completely different set of skills. I needed to remain somewhat hidden while keeping the drone in my line of sight. On top of that, being on a boat made completely out of metal can interfere with your RC frequency. The constant movement of the boat under power, coupled with even a slight breeze, added another layer of difficulty. To make things even more challenging, there were hundreds of seagulls, and trying to land on the top of a boat which is cluttered with obstacles, wires, hydraulics, and safety gear. Let's just say I was sweating through the entire process.
And just while watching him up there try and land the drone too, it's like, you could see the expression in his face there. It's like, you know, am I gonna get this thing down or without crashing it? But no, he does a good job. He knows what he's doing with the drone. That's pretty good. Oh, yeah, it was all pretty good. Just I like the cameras are all set up, and you know, you're aware they're there, but you still do your work, right? It's like, kind of thought, well, wow, you're gonna be in these cameras, but it's just like, just carry on with your work and don't even worry about them. That's one thing. It's not too, well, the one part Daryl got a little bit queasy and sick. I don't think he really got sick, but he felt sick, and then next thing you know, he got over it pretty quick because we were eating hamburger after that. So that was pretty good.
You take a hold of that net first thing in the morning, you start pulling. Anything's possible. You can have nothing, you can have way too much, you can have it just right, you can have lots of junk, you can have, and that's the thing, when you first grab that buoy, you never know how your day is going to go. You don't know when you're going to be done, or you know, it's every day is just like a box of Cracker Jacks. You just never know what you're going to have.